again, and welcome back to this week's episode of Can I Just Say? This episode is a little late. It's Thursday instead of Tuesday. Life has been lifing. I believe that this episode is just going to be kind of a catch-up, kind of a little, get to know me type of episode. I did my introduction a while ago whenever, I think that was my first episode that I did, but that was kind of the direction I wanted to go with this, and I wasn't really comfortable in front of the microphone, but here we are. I'm doing a lot better at this now. So we're just going to do a little catch up, and I'll give you a little bit of my history today. I didn't really prepare the next episode of the Shadow Work series for this week, so I figured I would just kind of chat. We'd just sit and have a chat and chill and talk about life and how fucking crazy it's been. But anyway, so let's get into the Astro update first. Since it's so far into the week, really not much to update you on this week, but except that tomorrow, July 4th, Independence Day in America, Neptune will be going retrograde in the sign of Aries. So Neptune will be retrograde from July 4th and through, I believe it's December 10th. It will mostly be retrograde in the sign of Aries. It will go into Pisces a little bit, I think mid-October through the end of its retrograde. But for the most part, it will be in the sign of Aries, being retrograde. Neptune is the planet of illusion. So with it going retrograde, it will kind of give us the opportunity to reflect and look back on things that maybe, it's kind of that feeling of not all that glitters is gold. So with it being retrograde, we'll have a chance to kind of go back and look at the things that we might have been sort of illusion to, especially within the past year. Neptune typically goes retrograde every year. But it will give us the opportunity to reflect back on those things, but with it being in Aries, be mindful that you are not being too hard on yourself or on other people for not being able to see through those illusions. We can't do better until we know better. So just make sure that you have grace with yourself, but be prepared to be able to see past anything that might have been dim or might have just looked better than it could have been in the past. So let's have a chat. I figured this episode's probably not going to be super long, but I wanted to put something out there this week. So where do I even start? Let's start from, I guess, kind of where a lot of things changed in my life recently in the past couple of years. So I think in my introduction episode, I kind of talked about how my spiritual awakening started kind of around when COVID did and all of that kind of stuff. But 2023 is really where my life shifted a lot. So I think I also mentioned this in one of my psychedelic episodes. But in April of 2023, let's start with January of 2023, because 2023 was a year. So in January, my ex-husband and I, we had a dog named Bella, who we got in England when we lived there. He's in the military, so we were in England. We were stationed in England from 2009 until 2012. We got Bella in England. She was a Catahoula leopard dog. If you don't know what they are, look them up. They are beautiful dogs, super smart, super loyal, super easy to train, great dogs to have. Think of a Labrador with a camouflage coat or a merle colored coat. Anyways, so we got her in 2009. She was just a puppy. I don't even think she was 8 weeks old when we got her. She was probably closer to 6 weeks old. So we raised her from very young. So in 2023, in January, she had been sick for a while, and we did all of the tests, all of the blood work. We did a spinal tap, we did an MRI, all of that kind of stuff, and the vets could not figure out what was wrong with her, but there was something wrong with her back right hip or her foot or something on that back leg. So she got to the point where we were having to use like some kind of sling or something because she was like 70 pounds. We were using some type of had to use some type of sling or something to kind of take a lot of the pressure off of her back legs so that she could go out and use the bathroom and go for walks and things like that. So the laser treatment we were doing for her seemed to have been helping. She was starting to put some weight on that leg. Things seemed to have been kind of looking up. And then all of a sudden, at the end of January, she took a turn for the worst, and we ended up having to make the very, very hard decision to put her down. There was nothing the vet could have done for her. She collapsed and had labored breathing. The vet said you could tell that she was in so much pain, and there was just nothing they could do. So her time was up. We made the very hard decision to put her down. And then come April of that year, the end of April, I decided to do my first mushroom journey. Came home from that, and the middle of May was when I had the discussion with my ex-husband that I did not want to move to Colorado with him, and that I felt that we were best going about our lives in different directions. So that was middle of May. By the end of August, I was living in the home that I am now, still in San Angelo, and he was moving to Colorado. And I kind of just jumped into life. I had a new friend group. I had a business partner who I was helping to establish her business idea that she had. She already had a successful biofield tuning business that she had started, and we were working together to try to get more of that off of the ground and to get her boutique running and things like that. And she was looking at buying a space. So I was trying to kind of find my footing, kind of find my place as a healer, and also help her along the way. So for the next like 6 months, actually till about May of last year, so about 8 months after my ex-husband and I split up. For about 8 months, it was kind of just like having fun, meeting new people, making new friends, all kinds of stuff like that, really trying to find who I was. But speaking of illusions, it was all an illusion because I fell back into my old pattern of putting my dreams aside so that I could help others. And it's nothing against my business partner that I had or any of my friends that I had. It's nothing against them. I hold no resentment. They did not ask me to put my life on hold for them. No one has asked me to put my life on hold for them. I did it myself because that was the dynamic that I had just gotten out of with my ex-husband. So patterns repeat. So I thought that I was working towards my goals, but I was really kind of just pushing my things aside, and by the end of the day I was too tired to worry about like marketing and things like that for my business and my healing journey. So I just kind of put that aside and was helping my business partner establish herself. So she got herself established. Her business now is booming, and she has had a great year of success. She has been open since June of last year. They had their grand opening. I take pride in knowing that I helped her establish that. I'm not taking full pride. She made her business a success herself, with the clients that she has and things like that. But I helped behind the scenes, the stuff you don't see, get the business up and going. So I'm proud of myself for that. Anyways, so I quit that job. The dynamic just wasn't working for us. Wasn't working for me. I can't put words into her mouth, but wasn't working for me. And so I took the next year off, and it was probably the hardest fucking year I've ever had of my life. And I lost my dad at 17 and then lost my mom in 2021, and I'm alone, But that's kind of what started my journey into shadow work and things like that. I was doing shadow work before, but it wasn't really it wasn't really the integrative work. It was the, oh, this, I'm thinking about these questions and I'm digging into my past and I'm trying to do inner child healing and all of this stuff. But I wasn't really integrating, accepting, and incorporating everything. So about a year it took to do a lot of that shadow work. And I honestly, there's so much of the last year that I can't really recall. And I have a lot of memories that are like that in my life. I have a lot of repressed emotions and memories from my past that I would love to someday try to dig into. But at this point, I'm surviving right now. But so about for the past year from I left the business partner deal, whatever you want to call it. I left that the end of May of 2024. And right up until about, I want to say, I took my vacation to Tennessee in April. I want to say probably right there, about April, was when I kind of started to come out of my cocoon again, come out of my cave and started to emerge. And at first it was very hard. It's very hard to do. I kind of got stuck in my story and my victimhood of I'm alone, I'm lonely, no one's here to help me. I've been seeing somebody, but it's long distance, so it's tough, having that support of your partner whenever your partner isn't next to you. So, but we do our best. But anyways, so started to emerge, started to come back into life again, recognized that a lot of the people that I was resonating with before, I'm no longer resonating with. And that's fine. We all go through our phases, But it just kind of felt like I was starting over again. I'm tired of fucking starting over. Like, moving around with my ex-husband as much as I did, had to start over all the time. Had to start over every 3 years in a new town, whatever. So I feel like I was starting over here again. And then I was dealing with not having a job and trying to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills because my divorce will be happening this year. And life really kicked me in the ass. I'm not going to lie. It really kicked me in the ass for a couple of months. But I kept telling myself, you need to trust that things will fall into place. Things fell into place in 2023. You need to trust this. You need to trust. You need to trust. I finally trusted, finally let go, and things began to fall into place. I now have been given the opportunity to have a booth in a new, very hip and happening vendor station called Hippie Hysteria here in San Angelo. I have been given the opportunity to showcase my fiber art in the new building. She will be opening August 1st, and there will be, I believe, 30 of us vendors all under one roof. So it's kind of like a forever indoor flea market. So we'll all have our booths up, and it's all going to be kind of homemade, locally made type of stuff, and I'm super excited to get started. So I have been crocheting up a storm, trying to get inventory made, getting my displays ordered and figuring out how I want to decorate it and all those kinds of things. And, self-sabotage has been sneaking back around. I'm already expecting myself to fail. I'm already expecting no one to care. I'm already expecting to, all of this to be so much work to do on my own because I don't really have a community of friends anymore. I have a community of acquaintances that I speak to and I'm cordial with, but I don't have a community of friends who I can really rely on. So a lot of it I'll be doing on my own, but it's a lot of that self-sabotage that came back around was kind of that, like, woe is me, like, where is my person to help me the way that I did my business partner, help her get herself off the ground? Like, where's my person to do that? And the funny thing is like, that's me. I do that for everybody else. I need to do that for myself now. So recognizing that and recognizing that while yes, it is very healthy for you to ask for help anytime that you need help, there's also some things that we have to do on our own. And for someone like me who has had to do a lot of my stuff on my own, has not had the groups of support or the support from my partners or things like that, I've had to do a lot of stuff on my own. I've had to get through a lot of stuff on my own, and I've had to manage through a lot of hurt and pain and loss and grief and everything on my own. So recognizing that, like, I've been through a lot of, like, the bad shit on my own, I need to be there for myself to be through the good shit, you know, like through this success that I'm building for myself. And just getting, I've talked about success before and how it doesn't start at the millionth degree. My success does not start with me selling out all of my crochet pieces monthly. My success has started with putting myself out there and applying for this space to be the vendor in that space. Had I not reached out, I would not have had this space. I made a good first impression, which I know I do. I always know I make a good first impression. I know I have a presence that people admire and that people enjoy, and that people can see my confidence in myself and my abilities. So, kind of building myself up around that kind of stuff and making sure that I'm treating myself nicely and allowing the self-sabotage to have its voice, but letting it know that that's not the truth. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to be scared. It's all okay to not know how this is going to happen, but to just continue taking action to make it happen. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Thank you so much for sitting with me today and letting me catch up on life with you. It was nice to just kind of like sit here and chat and just kind of like get my story out there and yeah, just let y'all know that if you're going through it too, you're not alone. It's tough out here right now. It really is. It's really tough. But if you need some extra support, shoot me a message. Find me on Facebook, Instagram. Shoot me a message here on YouTube. Shoot me an email if you need to. Whatever it is, reach out and just be like, hey, I'm going through some shit. How do I do this? And we'll have a chat. We'll talk through it. But I hope that all of you be gentle with yourselves and recognize that it doesn't have to be perfect. Just begin. Thank you so much for sitting with me. I'll see you next week.